Good day and welcome to the UFC 172 conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Schaller. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and greetings from Baltimore, Maryland, the site of this Saturday's UFC 172, featuring the light heavyweight title fight between champion Jon Jones and number 2 ranked contender Glover Teixeira. Both Jon and Glover are on the line today. In addition to those two gentlemen, we have Phil Davis and Anthony Johnson, our co-main event stars. Today's call is going to get kicked off right about now, so operator, let's open it up. Star 1 if you have a question. Star 1, and we'll wait a second here while we queue.
Thank you. And once again, star 1 if you'd like to ask a question. And we'll pause for a moment.
And we can start with Heidi Fang from MMA Fight Corner, operator.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Hello, thank you for the time. Obviously, I'll be right away with the main event here. I'm curious, Jon, coming off of the fight against Alexander Gustafsson, you went through a tremendous amount of adversity in that fight. Was there any moment for you in that fight with Gustafsson where you had to gut check and realize, wow, I might have everything slip away, and how did you mentally rebound?
Your question was there any moment in the Gustafsson fight where I felt as if I could have lost everything?
Yes.
Yeah, going into the 4th round, I realized that the fight was really close, and I realized that I needed to switch up my strategy and began improvising a little bit more, and that's what I did. I think with Gus, I was trying to fight a technical kickboxing match, and I think I was losing at that, so I just had to switch my style up and start flowing a little better, and start winging things, making up, creating, finding new openings, and that led to that big elbow and a few other techniques that was kind of spare the moment things that were working for me, some flying knees and stuff like that.
And being the champ, you're always the hunted one, as it is right now. There's kind of a line going for you. Everybody's gunning for you, obviously, in the division. How do you manage to keep focused on Glover with knowing that Gustafsson is lying back in the wings?
Oh, it's easy to stay focused on Glover. Just looking at the guy's record. I mean, the guy hasn't lost a fight in 5 years. He's beaten 20 people in a row. He's obviously a very special fighter. So I know in order to defeat such a magnificent fighter, I need to be on my game. I need to be even more magnificent than he is. In order to do that, I need to be completely dedicated, focused, and have a great camp.
Thank you. And for Glover, is there anything about the lead up to this fight that has made you feel maybe underestimated, being that a lot of fans are talking about maybe Jon Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson as the next fight?
Yeah, they're going to talk about that. Jones is a champion. He's been a champion for a while, and most people are going to favor him. I never really see a champion winning that much, and they favor the challenge. And I think I did my job. I worked so hard for this fight, and this is my opportunity over here. It's a dream, and Saturday night, see what happens.
Thank you. And just one more question for Anthony Johnson, if I could. Obviously, it's probably very important to you to get back to fighting in the UFC. Do you feel that there's a lot of pressure on you to make an immediate impact coming back?
No, I don't feel like there's any pressure at all.
And how do you feel in this new weight class at light heavyweight? I mean, is it a relief for you to not have to worry about cutting so much weight?
Yeah, mentally and physically, it's great for me not to have to cut so much. But I feel awesome, and I'm just ready to get it done. I've been training, it seems like forever, so I'm just ready to get out there and do it.
Great. Thank you so much for the time.
Hey, Anthony, how much you weigh right now?
215. How much you weigh?
That's not bad. I'm 220.
Oh, hell, you bigger than me, fat boy.
Hey, I bet you I'm sexier than you, though.
We can have a contest with that. Let the ladies decide.
Deal.
Operator, you can queue up the next question. It's Damon Martin from FoxSports.com.
Thank you.
My first question is to Jon. You know, Jon, for a while there, you know, a lot of people were talking about you going to heavyweight and maybe a super fight with Cain Velasquez, but it seems like the light heavyweight division is kind of filled back up again with contenders. You got Alex, obviously Glover, you got, you know, Daniel Cormier out there, now you got Phil and Anthony Johnson. I mean, do you feel like this division is going to keep you interested in staying at 205 for quite some time now?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I answered a question similar to that earlier today. Someone was asking me about possibly fighting Cain Velasquez, and you know, I answered to that. I have no interest at this point. You know, there's a lot of great competition for me to test myself against. You know, Glover Teixeira obviously being first on that agenda. What a great challenge he'll be. You know, people are interested in rematches. I got Phil Davis saying he's going to crumble me like a cookie. So yeah, I mean. Lots of competition left for me, and I'm excited to meet them all.
I kind of asked you this when I talked to you the last time, but what do you think about, you know, a lot of the light heavyweights being a little more vocal? You know, when you first became champion, outside, I mean, obviously you had some personal stuff with Rashad, but I mean, you know, it was pretty good line of guys that showed you respect. But it seems like lately, guys are kind of coming after you a little more, not necessarily personally, but kind of coming after you saying they can beat you, they found the weakness, whatever it is. Do you pay attention to that? Is it kind of weird that now it seems like there's a long line of guys all, you know, kind of vocally gunning for you?
You know, this is the thing I realize when it comes to that. When guys actually have the contract signed and they're the one who's next in line, you know, they tend to show a lot more respect usually. When the guy's not in line and he knows he won't be fighting me for at least a half a year or whatever time it may be, it's easy to sit there and chirp and say what you would do. So I tend not to take them that seriously.
Yeah. Your last fight against Alex was such an epic fight. It was really the first time we saw you really tested in a fight in terms of actually being in trouble maybe a couple of times. Does that put any extra, not necessarily pressure, but kind of an onus on you this fight to really want to go out there and dominate Glover? Because, again, the last fight was so good, but I know you've had such a dominant style that you've really not had to worry too much about being in trouble. I mean, that fight tested you, but is there a statement to be made against Glover to kind of prove that, yeah, Gustafsson pushed you, but that's not who you want to be as a champion. You want to go back to those dominant kind of one-sided performances you had been having.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I definitely have got right back to the mindset that I had, you know, going into, you know, every fight that I've gone into. You know, every fight I go into, I have an ideal of finishing the fight. You know, I don't like going into fights and fighting all 5 rounds. I'm totally prepared to fight for 5 rounds, but my goal in this fight is to dominate the fight in a way that no one seen possible. You know, domination is in my psychology. It's the way I train. It's the way I eat. It's the way I visualize. It's the way I believe. And you know, if I don't dominate the fight, I'll still be happy with the victory. But domination is what I'm planning on.
And a question for Glover. You know, Glover, you obviously have been on the radar of fans for a long time, from being, you know, Chuck Liddell's sparring partner back in the day all the way to your current streak. But do you feel like, you know, this really is the best time for you to be where you're at? It took you a long time to get to the UFC, but now with the streak you're on, do you feel like this really is the best time for you to face a guy like Jon Jones?
Yeah, man. You know, this is the best time. I mean, I'm in best shape of my life. You know, I always train hard for any fight, man. And Jon is no joke. You know, it's like I mean, this guy's like, when I say satisfied to beat him more than because after Chuck Liddell, he's the only guy that holds the belt for so long. You know, and beating him is like Chris Weidman get the credit to beat Anderson Silva. You know, so you know, beating like a great champion like him, and like train so hard and train so hard but so happy, because every day I wake up in the morning I'm like, man, I'm fighting for the UFC belt. This is great. You know, just going to the gym and train really hard.
Yeah, and you know, having trained with Chuck and been around Chuck for so many years, I know he's been a great friend and mentor to you. But having been around that and seeing him at his highest points and being around those moments, I mean, did that help you at all, you know, getting ready for this fight in terms of mental preparation? Because let's be honest, being in a title fight, main event, that's a big spotlight to put on yourself. But even though you haven't fought for a title in the UFC, you've been there. You were there with Chuck during his greatest days, and I feel like that maybe could be a big influence and a help to you. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, Chuck is always, man, I met Chuck like a long time ago before he was a champion. I see him the way he respects all his opponents, the way he put himself together, and like the way he go in the cage and try to finish fight to excite the fans. And that's the way I learned, how to fight, how to do most of the things. But Chuck stay out of my training mostly. He say one thing, the other, how I should do this. Like he see what I do, and like he just saying something. But he leave most of his stuff with John Hackler. He's the one do my training. But Chuck is, he's just a great friend, man.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
And as a reminder, it's *1 if you would like to ask a question. Next, we'll move to Ken Fishna with MMAweekly.com.
Hey, guys. Thanks for the time. Just for Glover real quick, it seems like even though you've amassed a really stellar record, and actually a record very similar to Jon's as far as your success rate, but it seems like you've kind of flown into this fight under the radar a little bit. Has that how you look at it, that maybe fans aren't looking at you as quite the same caliber maybe as like Gustafsson and Jones right now, and has that kind of taken the pressure off for you? Has it been a good thing?
No, I don't think either way or the other, man. I think, the fans, they know Jones more than, he's been a champion. He defended his title a lot of times, and, of course they're going to go for him. I knew that, before this fight was announced. I knew, like, when I fight Jon Jones, this was going to happen, and I don't really care. I just got to prove they were wrong, to prove that I have a potential to become a champion.
And for Phil, real quick, almost along the same lines, you've had a lot of success in this division and rolled over a lot of opponents, but it seems like you're not really getting the credit as far as it comes to getting a title shot. Do you feel like you've been kind of overlooked and you need to come out and maybe make a statement and say, hey, look at me, guys, I'm here too, and I've really amassed a good record, and I deserve a title shot as much as these other guys?
Yeah, I try to let my fighting do the talking, but I'm gonna have to let my talking do the talking for a little bit. And the fighting's cool. I'll take care of itself. So it doesn't matter if I fly under the radar for a little bit. Shouldn't be for too much longer.
Do you feel like in this age where it seems like a lot of fights get made once there's a lot of noise made out in the social media and stuff like that maybe you need to start jumping into that mix and making some noise outside of the cage too, so you get the fights that you want?
I guess that's part of the game. I definitely can't neglect any of it. So that's just going to be at the next step.
And real quick for Jon, I don't think most fighters want to go 5 rounds, especially if you have to take some punishment along the way and absorb that. And even though you had a miraculous fight with Alexander Gustafsson and ended up on the winning end, even though you don't necessarily want to take that type of fight, have that kind of fight, how important was that for you in your career and your growth as a mixed martial artist?
Would you mind asking that question again? I'm sorry. Hello?
Yes?
Would you mind asking that again? I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying that I don't think most fighters want to have to go 5 rounds and absorb, damage along the way, even though you did overcome that against Alexander Gustafsson and eventually win the fight. But how important is having a fight like that to your growth as a fighter?
It's very important. It's one of those fights that make you more confident in your cardio and just more confident in your heart. I had finished a lot of fights fairly fast, and I think it was more important for the fans too, to see that I have the heart. You know, when things get ugly, when things get nasty, that I'll be there, and that I won't disappoint, and that I'll fight with all my heart, all my soul, and every ounce of me to remain champion. You know, we had some glimpses of it when I fought. You know, Vitor Belfort armbarred me. You know, and being a champion means so much to me that I was going to let him break my arm. Cho Son, and I broke my toe, and being a champion meant so much to me that I was willing to continue fighting, you know, not even realizing that my toe was broken. So it was great to see those little glimpses of heart and my will. But after that Gustafsson fight, you know, I'm even more confident in my will. I know I have a lot of will, and I know that I'm armed with that going into this battle on Saturday night.
All right, thanks, guys.
And next we'll move on to Karen Bryant with MMA H.E.A.T.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking the call. My question is for Rumble. You know, a lot of your posts and things on Facebook, on Twitter, a lot of them are really positive about your comeback and a sense of there's a kind of an I'll show them feeling to some of the things that you're writing. So I'm curious, are you still getting pushback from fans? Do you still have people, you know, kind of bringing up old things about not making weight? Are people still giving you a hard time about what you used to do in the UFC?
Who's that? Anthony, you still on?
Yes. Yeah, my phone cut out at this conference.
Oh, sorry.
So what was the question? Sorry, I missed it.
No, Rumble. It's just about, you know, a lot of the things that you're writing on Facebook and your Twitter messages and stuff. Kind of a very positive tone, but also kind of an I'll show them feeling to them. So I'm just curious if you're still getting pushback from some UFC fans who think about the old Rumble who didn't make weight. Are they still giving you grief about that? Is that why you feel that you need to put these kind of messages out?
No, I just do it, you know, the messages that I get, my aunt actually sends them to me just for motivation, you know, and I just feel like I can share with the world, and hopefully it'll, you know, lift somebody else's spirit up besides mine, you know, and anything positive I'm always down for. So that's why I do it. And as far as, like, you know, people say anything about the weight, when I see it, I just smile about it. You know, what can I really say? I brought it on upon myself, you know. I admit that, so it doesn't bother me anymore.
Okay, great. And with knowing that you brought it upon yourself, obviously you're in a different weight class now, but when you look back, do you see the error of your ways? Do you see what you were doing wrong? You know, did you have to make a mental change in your life, or was it purely just physical things that you weren't doing right, you know, to get yourself to fight at the right weight and to just really get comfortable with where you are as a fighter?
It was everything pretty much mental. It was just a mental thing. It was never physical. It was always mental. And
mental in that way, you were just defeating yourself before you got there?
Yeah, I was just making, you know, dumb choices and not, you know, doing things the way I needed to, you know, just young and dumb and not caring really, you know, as much as I should have. I can't say I didn't care, because I did care, but, you know, my head just wasn't completely in it.
Okay. And Phil, for you, on the flip side of this, you know, it's been a while since you've had a fight, and then this one got announced as co-main event with Rumble. How do you feel about welcoming him back? Where do you see him as a dangerous fighter?
I'm glad I get to fight Anthony Johnson. You know, he's a dude I've been watching for a long time. Actually, a dude I've been a fan of, so it's actually a cool opportunity. I think he's dangerous all over. He has a lot of experience. There's no real big holes in his game.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.
And next we'll move on to Gareth Davies with the Daily Telegraph.
Good afternoon, Anthony, Phil Cabrina, Glover, and Jonathan Dwight. Thank you very much for giving us this time in Fight Week. Could I ask Phil Davis first of all? Good afternoon, Phil.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. In the last couple of Dana media scrums, Phil, it was either in Quebec or Orlando, I can't remember now, but jet lagged right now. The Dana had said that one of the problems with Phil, he wasn't kind of specifically talking about Bruce Lee, so one of the problems with Phil, he said, is he's too laid back. He doesn't put pressure on me. And Dana went on to speak then about how Ronda's always putting pressure on him. She wants to fight all the time. How do you respond to the fact that he's saying you're too laid back?
Well, listen, okay? If that's what he said, that's what he said. I'm not going to argue with the man. Okay? Simple as that. Okay? But how I feel about it is, if you want Phil Davis calling and texting your phone every day telling you want to fight Jon Jones and beat up whoever the champion is, that's fine. I thought just want him to get it done. That's not necessarily so, okay? It's really just a what do you call that? A miscommunication. So I'm just going to make sure I have to do what I got to do on Saturday. Then I'll call out whoever's the champion after Saturday night. Simple as that.
Do you feel you're doing enough talking inside the octagon at the moment, then? And that's what you're saying, basically, yeah? Phil?
Wait, what? What was the question? Do I feel like I'm doing enough talking?
Are you saying that you really just need to do your talking inside the octagon? You don't need to go out there kind of rumbling around, putting pressure on to get a title fight?
No, I'm saying precisely the opposite. I'm saying enough talking inside the octagon. You got to win. You got to look good winning, and then you got to tell everybody you're going to break apart Jon Jones. And that's that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
One more thing. Jon Jones said I was going to break him apart like a sugar cookie. That's not exactly correct. I promised I was going to break him apart like a sugar cookie. Big difference.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Could I ask Glover? Glover, where do you see?
Yo, Phil, that wasn't nice, bro. What's wrong with you, Phil? Phil, when we become like this?
Why you have to think about it for so long? Hey, that was nice.
When we become like this, Phil? Remember we hung out at Lionheart? We used to chill. We went out together.
I remember that. I snuck you into a bar and he was only 20 years old.
Oh, come on.
What?
Phil, I'm not giving up on you, Phil.
You brought it up, man. Listen.
I'm not giving up on you, Phil.
I'm not going to give up on you either, sweetheart.
That's not nice, Phil.
But, Phil, are you just sitting there waiting and developing the opportunity to rip Jon Jones apart, basically, yeah?
Pretty much. I shouldn't say, whatever Glover leaves left, whatever Glover do to him, I mean, hey, I'm not responsible for that. Glover's going to do what Glover's going to do. I'm worried about that as it is. But I'll clean up whatever's left.
Not nice, Phil.
You're welcome.
I don't know whether to interrupt you guys or not. I wonder. I'm going to keep on with Phil here. Phil, what's your assessment of what happened in the Gustafsson Jones fight then?
Funny you should ask. I was going to chime in. Well, here's what happened. Jon Jones came out and he was doing his thing. Was that a snicker, John? Okay. Anyhow, Jon Jones came out doing his regular deal, and Alex, because Alex and I, we trained together, we know over some things to do. I said, Alex, listen now. What you really need to do is you need to strong arm him like an American, hit him with a backhand pep slap. I'm telling you right now. Alexander threw 7 different kinds of smoke at this dude. Jon Jones didn't know up from down when he was fighting Alex. He didn't know what hit him. He didn't know why he hit him that hard. Why he was hitting so much. I honestly still don't understand really how he lost, but I will say this. Jon Jones came back the last 2 rounds, 4th and 5th round, came back like a champion. Did he do enough to win? Absolutely not. But look, hey, when you leave it to the judges, leave it to the judges. I understand that. Alex understands that. We talked about it. He's going to come back stronger.
Hey, Phil, question?
What? I will tell you this. 7 different kinds of smoke. Jon Jones is on fire. 7 different kinds of smoke he has.
Hey, Phil, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, ask me a question.
What rounds did you feel Alexander won?
I thought he won all the ones where you put them hot hands all over your forehead.
Oh man, that's not nice, Phil.
Hot hands, yo. You put hot hands all over your forehead.
Man, not nice. Not nice.
Anyway, gentlemen, I've got to interrupt because I know you're arguing amongst yourselves here, but I've got to move on to the next question. But thank you very much, Phil. I think you answered Dana's question there in a big way. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Glover, are you still there?
Yeah. I'm just laughing.
Brilliant, guys. Glover, I'm going back to that Gustafsson fight. You will have watched it yourself in studying, in preparation for Jon. What did you learn about Jon in that fight, and did you perceive weaknesses for your game plan?
Yeah, I learned that Jon's a lot of fights, man. As far as I come to UFC, I've been watching Jon. You're always watching the champ. You're always watching the guy that you wanna challenge one day. I watch it. I always fight live. TV or I was there, but I'm watching this guy's fight. And that fight, he showed little stuff, but taking from Gustafsson is different because people say, "Oh, what you learn? You can do what Gustafsson did and did that or this," but Gustafsson is a different style. Me and Gustafsson, we have a different style, so we're gonna do different things, and Jon's probably gonna do different things in my fight. But only thing I learned, like he said himself, man, he can go to the deep water and come back, and he's a true champion, and that gives me more motivation to train really hard for this fight and know this fight can go 5 rounds.
One of the things you will have seen on Saturday night in Orlando is that most people were kind of tipping Travis Brown to go through Fabricio Verdum, and yet Fabricio fought. I think probably it was a stunning performance, frankly. Did you take? And most people are kind of not writing you off, but seeing you as the big underdog in this fight. This is MMA and anyone can win, depending on the night and the styles. Did you take something from that on Saturday night as well?
What, if we're doing and Travers?
Yeah.
No, man, it was a fight. I thought Verdun was gonna win. I trained with Verdun before, and I thought he was really tough, and I knew it was gonna be a tough fight, but I thought he was gonna take him down and submit him, but he beat him in his feet, but and the night Travis breaks his hand, so you never know. But listen, I thought that Verdun was going to win, so he did. And
finally, did you heard Phil Davis delivering some words to Jon Jones? Can you speak directly to Jon Jones now and let him know what you're going to do to him on Saturday night?
Yeah, he knows my style. I mean, he knows I'm going over there, and I'm trying to change his fight. All respect for Jon Jones, man. Like I say, he's a great champion. He's a great guy as well. I mean, I don't hang out with him too much, but as I see, he seems like a great person. But that Saturday night, man, we're gonna take care of business, and he's gonna try and knock me out. I'm gonna try and knock him out, and that's what we're gonna do, man. And I'm excited for that.
And finally, a question for Jon. Jon, everyone else is giving their opinion on what they learned about you in the Gustafsson fight. What did you learn about yourself in that fight? And you talk about domination on Saturday night. Can you talk us through how you're going to dominate?
The biggest thing I learned for myself is that I'm game for war. I'm game for it. Like I said, no fighter wants to have fights like that last fight. Obviously, getting punched in the head and I wear a permanent scar now over my eye and stuff like that. Nobody wants to have fights like that. But you know, it was about time for me to have one of those, and it was good to know that I can play that game and that I can win that game. And as far as the fight this Saturday night, you know, I feel good. I just feel good. I've been eating healthy. You know, I have more confidence in my ability to go the distance than ever. You know, Gustafsson, man, he's looking good. You know, a lot of people I consider him to be the best out there, and I've already beaten him, which, you know, makes me more confident in being the best. I think I'm faster. I think I could be equally as strong as Glover. You know, right now I have the most submissions in the history of the light heavyweight division. Well, even in the jiu-jitsu category, I feel as if it becomes a jiu-jitsu match, I can play jiu-jitsu with him. My ability to scramble, my just overall quickness, my unpredictable strikes, my takedowns from the clinch, my takedowns from shooting. I just feel good. I feel confident, and I believe it's my time. And so I don't have any doubts in my mind. I feel like a winner. I feel like a champion, and I've been in shape for a long time now, and I've just been waiting for a long time, and I'm excited to go out there and play the game.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed.
And a final reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star one. Star one to ask a question. And next we'll move to Ben Zwidik with Daily Mirror.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for taking your time. First of all, I'd like to start with Jon Jones. Jon, obviously, your last fight quite controversial. Looking back at the fight, did you perceive any technical or tactical?
Right. Wait, could you ask the question again?
Well,
yes. After your last fight, looking back,
what everybody else saw, did you see Alex Allen behind?
One more time, sir. I'm sorry.
Yes. Did you perceive any weaknesses in your last fight, technically or tactically, and have you tried to address any of those for the Glover fight?
What weaknesses did I see in my last fight? In myself?
Did you see Alex Allen behind? Because that's what I saw. Everybody seen it, John.
Wait. Wait, Phil. Give this guy a second to ask this question again, because I didn't hear him.
Sorry, Jon. I asked what weaknesses you perceived in yourself during your last fight, and if you've managed to correct any of those during training for this fight.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to say the weaknesses that I saw. You know, I thought I fought good. You know, but Gustafsson just exploited a lot of things in my game. You know, he just did a tremendous job. You know, and I can't really call them weaknesses on my part per se. I just think he just did really good in some ways, in some aspects of the fight. So you know, I really focused on the good things about that fight for me, and I think there was a lot of good things, a lot of great moments for me in that fight. Gustafsson had a great fight.
And obviously, you've had a bit of a war of words over social media and through the MMA media, but Gustafsson has said that he's certain that you're going to win your fight on UFC 172. Are you concerned at all that he will be preparing for you now rather than an advantage?
No, I'm not concerned about what Gustafsson's doing at all. You know, right now I'm focusing on Glover. You know, it's actually kind of sad that me and Glover haven't had a better chance to promote our fight because everyone's so concerned with Gustafsson. But you know, I'm really focused on Glover, and I know that Glover, you know, he's a winner, and I got to be 100% focused on him in order to beat him. So that's what I've been, and yeah, I think everything with Gustafsson will come in time, and you know, me and both being 26 years old, us fighting again is inevitable. So I'm not really worried about that right now.
And of course,
we all saw that you were scared. What have you done to overcome your scaredness? Did you get a nightlight? Do you sleep with a teddy bear now? What do you do?
I actually do sleep with a teddy. I do sleep with a teddy, Phil. Does that answer your question?
Yes or no?
Okay, and Jon, your next opponent is Glover, obviously, and he's known for his boxing and his knockout power. Were you trying to steer the fight into other areas, or are you confident you can throw hands with him?
I'm confident that I can stand with Glover, for sure. He has great knockout power in his left hand and in his right hand. I've studied him and some of his favorite combinations extensively, and I feel like I'm ready. You know, Glover isn't the first fighter that I fought with extreme strength and power. Vitor Belfort, his straight left is scary. Liam, knockout power is scary. Rampage Jackson has amazing knockout power. Shogun Rua, with his overhand right, people to, Brandon Vera's leg kicks and his Muay Thai punch. I mean, the list goes on and on. I've fought on a lot of guys with extreme power and extreme strength. But what the key is to limit their opportunities to swing on you like that. So I'm ready for Glover's pressure. I'm sure he's going to come out right away and try to pressure close the distance. And I'm ready for that. And I'm ready to go out there and just be unpredictable.
Well, the last time you say you couldn't handle somebody in the striking department, Alex hit you so many times in the right eye, you almost turned into a pirate. How are you so sure you can be better than Glover standing up? Because let me tell you, I don't seen Glover before. He throw heat. What are you going to do?
Good.
All right, let's go ahead. Ben, you finished with your question?
Yes, thank you. And if I could have just a quick question with Glover. Now, you're fighting somebody with unusual reach, both training partners to help you deal with Jon's range.
Yeah, we did some training there. Try to avoid the range. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, we did all training for that, man. But that's my style already. No matter who I fight, I get in a close distance, and I just work all around, man. I'm confident in everything, confidence in my boxing, my kickboxing, my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu. So, I just get over there and do the job. I'm a MMA fighter, and I'm confident, man. I'm very confident with this fight, man. And Jon Jones he's a great fighter, but that's his time to pass the belt, man. And so maybe he take a rest without the belt for a little bit.
And obviously, Jon's got a very strong wrestling background. Are you confident you can defend yourself from your back against quite devastating ground and pound?
Yeah, I train with guys. Jon is definitely he's all around too, man. People say about how you avoid the reach is the reach is but the thing is I answered this question many times. He's a champion. Is definitely not because he's rich. Because he's a champion because he's good. Because I see a lot of tall guys, linky guys, come to the gym and then never even make to UFC. Even taller than him. But you just like I say, man. It's techniques against techniques. It's my skills against his skills, and I believe it's my skills. Been doing this for a long time, and this is my time, man. I'm just happy to go over there and excited, realize my dream.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next we'll move to Brett Okamoto with ESPN.
Hey guys, thanks to everyone on the call. I have just a few quick questions for Jon. Jon, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this question or not, but when you look back on your career, in some ways, do you feel like the win over Gustafsson was your most impressive victory? Obviously, it was your closest one, but is it the one that kind of you're the most proud of at this moment, or would you pick one of your more dominant fights?
No, it's not the one I'm most proud of. I think it was I think it was a big fight for my legacy. You know, it was a big fight for the fans. You know, right now people are considering that one of the greatest martial arts bouts of all time. And I mean, to be a part of the greatest anything of all time is always a huge honor. People are considering it the fight of the year, which is a huge honor. So I'm grateful for that performance in so many ways. But I don't think it's the greatest performance of my career, no. I think I could have competed much better. I could have had a much better training camp. And with that being said, also hats off to Alex for showing up and having a great performance. I think that could be Alex's greatest performance, but certainly not mine. I would have to say one of my favorite performances is against Lyoto Machida. Lyoto is a guy that a lot of my original coaches would say to me, John, you got to go to bed early because you got to beat Lyoto one day, or John, you got to learn how to fight in the southpaw stance and in the orthodox stance because you know you got to be smart and be able to do this in order to beat Lyoto one day. And John, you got to learn how to kick better because you got to beat Lyoto one day, and you got to learn how to block because it's going to be about Lyoto one day. So whether he knows it or not, I mean, Lyoto was my dream fight. It was the guy I trained to beat since my UFC debut. So that's the performance I'm most proud of, to be honest. Outside of beating Shogun, obviously, for the belt.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. And then my last question was, you know, at UFC 165 when you fought Gus, there were a lot of Swedish fans in the crowd. They were booing the decision, and I actually remember some things flying down from the crowd. And I'm just wondering, obviously, you were in a sort of different state at that moment. But do you remember in that fight or any other fight in your career, have you ever had a crowd member like throw something at you, like a beer can or anything like that?
No, I've been really fortunate not to have that happen.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. That's all I had.
And we'll move on to Stephen Morocco with USA Today.
Hey, John. A couple of weeks ago at the media day, you thought that Phil was trying to build his name by mentioning you and sort of chirping at you in the press. I'm wondering if his behavior today mows the road.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You know, I have nothing to prove fighting a guy like Phil. You know, I've already proven myself against a lot of amazing martial artists, and I think if anything, you know, Phil's kind of embarrassing himself with all the antics. I mean, but you know, it's what he's deciding to do today. You know, I'm a champion, and you know, I fight the top dogs, and my whole career has been in the fast lane, and I'm not going to sit here and belittle myself by entertaining Phil. You know, at first I thought it was funny, but I mean, it's just silly. And I'm fighting Glover, and he's fighting Anthony Johnson, and I need to really stay focused on Glover. Yeah, he's a great challenge for me. So, you know, I just think when you talk like that and you be so goofy, it puts more pressure on you. I mean, what if he goes out there and get caught with one of those high kicks from Anthony Johnson and gets knocked out? I mean, it's going to be really embarrassing trash to me, and then he'll get knocked out by Anthony Johnson. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut and stay focused on what I'm here for, and that's the Glover.
Is it frustrating that the topic is so often about other people besides your opponent leading up to this fight?
Is it frustrating to hear all the trash talk from other people?
Well, you know, the topic of conversation leading into this fight is and the questions that you're asked are very frequently not about your actual opponent, but about other people. Is that frustrating to you?
Right. Well, the only thing that's frustrating about it is it creates a perception of me overlooking Glover, which is not fair because I'm not. There was actually an incident where Coach Hackerman, spoke against me because of the fact that I'm questioning Alexander. So, you know, I want to go on the record and make it clear that you know, in no way, shape, or form overlooking my opponent. I'm just being asked these questions and answering the questions. Know that I study my opponents tremendously, extensively, and that I'm taking this fight very seriously.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our final question, we'll hear from Raul Alzaga with Premier H.E.A.T.
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking. Hello. Yo. Hello, Jeff.
Raul, your phone is breaking up really bad. Can you go ahead and try again with that question?
Okay. Thanks, guys, for taking my call. This one is for Glover Teixeira. Usually when two sluggers get into the octagon, like yourself and Jon Jones, the fight doesn't usually stay upstairs. It usually goes to the ground. How good is your jiu-jitsu to face a good wrestler like Jon Jones who likes to ground and pound?
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. You know, I have pretty good submissions. I have some skills on the ground, but of course, the fight probably gonna go to the ground. This fight, either way, he take Jones down or him take me down, or stand there. We see what happens because we both like this. This fight, I think, is gonna be a good fight. I think it's gonna be a great fight. I hope it'll be a great fight because we both know so much in all aspects. And not one of the guys like, oh, he's really good. Like, he's a really good stand up, and I'm really good wrestler. But like we both like start. I mean, I start in mixed martial arts. Like when I start jiu-jitsu, I already start boxing, and I already start learning some wrestling, full MMA. I'm not like a guy that comes down from I'm jiu-jitsu champion and like I become MMA fighter later on. Like I'm confident in all aspects.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And at this time, I would like to turn the call back to Mr. Dave Schaller for any additional or closing remarks.
Thank you, and thank you to all the media who participated on today's call. Thank you to the four fighters as well. A very, very big week for us here in advance of UFC 172. Tomorrow, UFC light heavyweight champion Jon "Bones" Jones will be on live with Kelly and Michael. So that'll be an awesome appearance for Jon. On Wednesday, we have media availability at the Coast Show, which is in Hyatt Regency in Baltimore. And that will feature Luke Rockhold, Tim Bolch, and several other fighters. That begins at 1 o'clock. That is closed to the public. Again, media availability on Wednesday. Beginning at 1 o'clock, it's Rockhold, Bolch, Miller, Yancy Medeiros, Joseph Benavidez, and Tim Elliott. On Thursday, we move to the iconic Camden Yards for UFC 172 Ultimate Media Day. That begins at 1 o'clock. The four gentlemen on today's call will be there along with UFC President Dana White. And then Friday we go to the weigh-ins at Baltimore Arena. Starts things off at 2 o'clock. We have Q&A with UFC Hall of Famer Chuck Liddell. And then we go to the weigh-ins at 4 o'clock. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. We will see you in a couple days here in Baltimore. Have a great day.